So the Airlines Association of Southern Africa is worried about the new travel restrictions. It comes after the new Omicron variant was detected in South Africa, Botswana, Hong Kong, as well as Belgium. The association now wants the bans lifted. So to discuss this further, Munetsi from the association joins us live now. Aaron, thank you so much for your time this morning. Do you believe that the decision to place South Africa on the red list was made in haste?
Good morning, Faith, and good morning to your listeners. Yes, definitely. This decision was like a knee-jerk reaction, Faith. It was made in a very hasty manner. There was no consultation. And to us, it seems as if South Africa and actually the Southern African region is being punished because our scientists have been very transparent. We did not hide anything. Our scientists have been diligent and worked hard to make sure that this information was shared with the rest of the world. We were actually very taken aback, and we were very worried that this kind of a decision was taken.
Well, in terms of just the impact that this will have on the air travel industry, can you just talk to us around exactly what are we anticipating as a result of this decision now coming about?
So, Faith, we were beginning to see the green shoots of us being taken off the red list. And now you can imagine people were making plans to travel to the UK, to travel to Europe. And people were planning to travel from Europe and the UK to South Africa, to Southern Africa. Our airlines were gearing up for this, for the demand that was already building up. The hotels were making ready to receive the guests. The entire tourism ecosystem was getting ready. Our airports were sprucing up, getting ready for all this travel to start happening, especially now at the end of the year with the festive season upon us. And suddenly we are hit with this uncalled for decision. And now it causes a lot of ambiguity and unnecessary challenges for everybody across the entire travel ecosystem.
Well, I mean, we're speaking about exactly the impact that they will have, but when we're looking at the recovery of the air travel industry, it's been deemed to recover about, what, 2025 or so, if perhaps things continue going on a trajectory where there is no stop and go and stop and go. Are we seeing that full recovery now that we're seeing these kinds of decisions coming about by the likes of the UK?
I think those recoveries are going to be pushed even further down the line, probably 2025, 2026. But Faith, here's the thing for us, especially in South Africa. We have a robust domestic travel sector, and we're already beginning to see us much more ahead of other regions in terms of the picking up of travel in South Africa, people traveling internally, whether it is for leisure or for business. So we're already very excited because our government has been responsible enough to make sure that as the levels are reduced from level 5 to level 1, travel restrictions were lifted, intra-provincial travel was allowed. We're beginning to see the travel from a domestic point of view picking up very, very well. Now, with this kind of a decision being made and imposed on not only South Africa, but Southern Africa, that travel is now going to dwindle, and our airlines and the entire ecosystem is going to feel a very big impact.
Yeah, I mean, it just sounds like a very, what is it called, like a unilateral decision almost that was made. So in that sense, I mean, you're saying that there was no consultation, it was just a decision that was taken. Yes, fine, you cannot exactly impose and say to countries, you have to be able to conduct your safety measures in this way. But what would you have appreciated coming in from the likes of the UK that has now instituted this red list on Southern African or some Southern African countries, as opposed to just taking the decision and saying, here it is, we go along with it? What would have been the best alternative to what has been happening right now?
Faith, we are left with no option but to believe that this is a unilateral decision. What we would have expected really is to say, okay, so the South African scientists, they have identified the Omicron, at least from a scientific point of view, engage with each other and say, what does this actually mean? Who knows? The fact that this Omicron has got 32 spikes versus the Delta variant or Beta variant, which has got 16 spikes, might actually mean that the Omicron is weaker. We don't know. The scientists are still working on this. So number one, we would have expected them to consult and say, what does this actually mean? What does this new Omicron virus mean? Does it mean its efficacy is less or is it more? All these things needed to be addressed, number one, from a scientific point of view. Then from a health point of view, the departments of health in the UK and in South Africa would have been able to consult and say, what does this mean now that the scientists have told us that they found out about this particular variant? Yeah. What does this mean in terms of the protocols that we have? Does it mean that we have to tighten them? Does it mean we have to increase the vaccinations? We can increase the boosters, whatever it is. There should have been consultation phase, and that consultation never happened.
Well, Aaron, in that regard, I've got two very quick questions for you. Number one, what will the Airlines Association of Southern Africa then do now about this institution of the red list upon, or the imposition of red list upon some of these Southern African countries? So what are you guys going to do about it? And two, do you foresee job losses as a result of now having to be placed back on the red list?
So the first part of your question, Kate, Faith, what are we going to do as an association? We are going to communicate effectively with all the countries in the region, with all the airlines, to make sure that we don't get into a panic mode. We don't want to get into a downward spiral. We are saying we've been resilient. We have shown that we can deal with this kind of a situation. We can deal with the virus, Faith. We have been able to show that air travel is safe. So we're going to continue to communicate with our airline partners and members, and we're going to communicate with the public to confirm and give confidence to the public that there is nothing to panic about. So air travel is very safe. In terms of job losses, Faith, we are very worried because with this kind of a knee-jerk reaction, definitely there are going to be people that are going to stop traveling, cancel their travel plans, and obviously there are going to be job losses. But we want to make sure that our airlines also remain vigilant and remain resilient and make sure that they keep as many jobs as they can. And we are going to appeal to governments to continue to assist us with financial assistance. We don't want bailouts. What we want are for our governments to give us the enabling environment for us to continue operating as airlines.
Aaron, we'll leave it there for this morning. Thank you very much for your time. Aaron Munetsi there from the Airlines Association of Southern Africa.